Every time this chart turns green, we see a massive explosion in the value of altcoins. And guess what? It's just happened again, but this time is different. In this video, we're going to look at exactly who is behind driving this market forward and understand whether or not it's got the legs to continue further before a significant pullback. This is going to be a very important video to watch, so do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get into today's video. So first things first, show me that chart. What is it all about? Well, guys, as I keep telling you, LCryptoProf over on Twitter is nailing this bull market. He says, according to this, that every time we've seen the green Gaussian channel, we then erupt into a bull market, which we've done in the last few attempts. Now, you would say, if you looked on closer inspection, that back in 2016 and back in 2020, we had slight pullbacks before rallying into new highs, not just for Bitcoin, but pretty much every crypto out there. This chart pattern again tells us that we are likely to see significant rallies towards the upside. So why is this time any different? Well, because of this. As we look at the fear and greed index, it doesn't really tell us anything different. As the price increases, people get kind of greedier. But as I look into the free Telegram group, link down below, as well as others, I start to realize that people are still kind of fearful. People are still waiting for that pullback. They're still getting ready for Bitcoin to pull back to 35K, etc. Now, I think this is a dangerous thing because this time is different. What makes it different? Well, this. As we look across to the Bitcoin price, you'll see that Bitcoin has been growing massively, and currently Bitcoin's market cap sits at just over $1 trillion, which is absolutely crazy when you look at it on this image and see that $1 trillion takes up a football field. That's so big, so much money that it's almost impossible to comprehend. But what is behind this pump that's been going on since basically the start of last year? Who is this money really coming from? Well, most of this money through here was kind of smarter investors, and then you now started to get into institutional money. Typically, in this phase of other bull markets, what drives this early move is the retailers. The retailers like you and me. But the retailers aren't coming in right now. We're not really seeing new retail investors. And how do I know that? Well, look at this. It's very interesting. You, as a retail investor, watch, guess what? YouTube videos. I know that because you're watching mine, so you might as well hit the like button while you're at it. Now, guys, what we can see is this. As the price in Bitcoin in the last bull market went up, you saw all of these crypto channels exploding. Some of the bigger crypto channels out there. You will, however, see the likes of BitBoy Crypto, and maybe his views are down because obviously he quit and then became a boxing coach. So is life really that tough for the average crypto YouTuber out there right now? Well, according to this chart, the views are way down considering where the price is at. Last time you would have seen basically the bull market starts going and then all the retail start to watch YouTube videos because they're getting into the market. They want to educate themselves. Although looking across YouTube these days, I'd say that's the opposite of what most people are doing right now. We can see that the retail drives the market. Retail was driving the market here, but as the price was starting to peak here, picking up, and some of these channels were gaining loads of momentum. So bearing in mind BitBoy's not really in the space anymore, you got Coin Bureau, Altcoin Daily, and a handful of other bigger crypto channels. So if we go and have a look at some of those bigger channels, we can start to identify whether or not we're seeing more retailers flooding back into the space. Now this is socialblade.com. Come check this out if you want, absolutely free. And you can start looking at some channels. Now as you come down below on Coin Bureau, which is the biggest crypto YouTube channel out there, then you will see that the monthly gamed views are still tailing off towards the downside. You'll also see that the number of subscribers are not really moving anywhere. And you might be like, well, yeah, his content's not interesting anymore, or there's lots of new people in the space like the House of Crypto giving us lots of new, different, valuable information. So, if you think that, then maybe you should subscribe. But actually it's this. Lots of his content is kind of good for entry-level people getting into crypto, and that means that when you get new retailers entering into the space, people like him and his channel tend to blow up. But we're not seeing it. You can see it right here. You look at a bunch of other channels, they're not really blowing up either. And this is very important because it tells us who's driving this market right now, and it tells us how much more legs it's got to go. Because if we jump back to the Bitcoin price, we know now that institutions are driving this because we know new retail isn't entering the space. And all the retailers in the space right now aren't suddenly like having tons more money to inject into the ecosystem than they did before. Okay, so the money is coming from somewhere. It's coming from institutions. And institutions don't really want to drive the price back down until they can encourage retail to enter into the space. What does that tell us? It should tell us that we are likely to see continuation in the price rise because they will not want to drive the prices down now that they've got so much exposure without having someone come in and drive the price up further. Makes sense? And hopefully this scenario is what we're going to see. So this realistically, I would believe, is what we're likely to see. Now, obviously, this is not financial advice. Nothing is guaranteed. I'm just identifying how this cycle is different. It's back to front. Previously, you had like a kind of smart money getting in lower, the retailers, then suddenly you've got the big money investment funds getting involved, and then suddenly you get Bitcoin news all across BBC, CNN, and everyone and their dog are buying like crypto, and then the institutions sell off, everyone gets wrecked, and everyone's unhappy again, which ultimately will probably happen to most people again, because everyone gets greedy and no one can control themselves. Such is life in the crypto markets. But what we're seeing right now is a push towards $60,000 taking place. I do anticipate that we are seeing this push taking place, and we will see a continuation to at least this kind of level. And if I'm not wrong, and we do see this, and we're likely to see huge growth across other coins. Also, think back to that image I had of that $1 trillion with that big aeroplane next to it. All of that money in Bitcoin will then flood into other crypto coins because those smart money investors will start to take funds that they've made from Bitcoin and put it into other things while the institutions are propping up Bitcoin. If that happens, then the smaller cap altcoins will start to absolutely explode because it doesn't take much of that $1 trillion chunk as terms of like a percentage to see astronomical gains in some of the other altcoins out there. That's where the altcoin season is likely to come from. Now, obviously nothing is guaranteed, but what I'm trying to encourage you to have right now is a bit more confidence. And yes, there's always a chance of a pullback. And yes, maybe it's a bit risky to say I'm all in and maybe not keep some form of a cash reserve on the side. But personally, this is the time. It's not going to be like this forever. This could be one of the biggest, most crazy altcoin markets going if the institutions continue to pile in and then suddenly you get that retail flood. And I think it's already evident that it's coming earlier than expected. We need to be prepared correctly for this to happen. Now, if you want to know like which coins and things to be getting into, or you already have good exposure, I recommend that you don't chop and change throughout this bull market too much because you've already probably got some good coins in your portfolio and you should have some trust in yourself. Yes, every day the grass will look greener because your coins are maybe not doing the 80% that some other coin that you've just heard of is doing, but don't chop and change too much between these different coins. If you stay in your lane, you're likely to see more success. But let's be honest, I know what we're like, okay? I'm the same. I always love to find something new that could potentially see some huge growth, and there are new coins out there for us to be able to pull some profits from our coins right now and start to look into new portfolio coins. And in a private call later on, which I'm giving you access to, I will be going over some of the new coins and some of the new techniques I've got for finding these coins. So all you need to do is click the link down below in the description and you can get onto this private call. Also, by clicking the link and registering your email, if you're not able to make that private call because you're sleeping or you're at work, then no problem, you'll be able to watch it back at a later date and follow the processes I use to find new winning altcoins all the time. Last week, I showed you some altcoins that I was getting involved in, such as Kazuna when I was talking about it down near this green box. And since then, it's now up 120%. It was up yesterday around 191%, having a little bit of a healthy pullback. I talked about eToro down in this zone here. Currently, the price is sat up around 36% from there. It was pushing higher. I talked about BCB, saying it was due to get a breakout coming, and you can see another 38% up there. So make sure you subscribe, guys, if you want to catch these. I will be going back to doing some live streams as well as videos in the next couple of weeks once I've relocated. But in the meantime, make sure you get on that call later. Now, I'm pleased to say that today's video is in partnership with Lingo. As this bull market starts to explode, we're going to see real-world asset narrative really starting to kick off. And Lingo is uniquely positioning itself with a rewards program built around real-world assets. Now, currently they're going through a private round where you will be able to invest. And if you stick around to the end of this segment, I'll show you a code in which you can use to go and gain bonus tokens, which is incredibly important. Now, effectively what Lingo's doing is it's trying to onboard a bunch of users to participate in a rewards program. But this is unlike anything I've seen before in the world of crypto. Effectively, the way it works is this. You buy your tokens, You then earn rewards, and the rewards can be through compounding interest on your tokens and also other things ranging from cinema tickets to hotels in the Caribbean. But unlike other reward programs, this is actually backed up by real-world assets. When you're purchasing your Lingo tokens, the team will go and use those funds to go and buy things like hotels, real estate, etc. And the funds that they make from these investments will then be injected back into the ecosystem. So it's kind of win-win if you're a holder of Lingo tokens, because you are benefiting from the growth of real-world assets outside. So if you're looking to get involved in property without having to have all those overhead risks, then maybe this is a much better option. Now, as you come down through this website, you can learn more about some of the different bits and pieces that they are offering through real-world asset adoption. You can see that they've already built a huge list of key opinion leaders with over 300 million followers. Now, lots of people I know don't really like it when people advertise, but ultimately, guys, if you are having more and more people advertise in an ecosystem this big, it can help a project to gain huge exposure and explode very quickly. Now, as you come down below, you can see the founders and the team, and there's a lot to go through. Most importantly, though, it's worth looking into some of the advisors, where you can see people who were ex-partners at Binance, other people who were ex-managing directors of Booking.com, and so many more. It's also important to note that the founders have previous experience in this space, creating the world's largest private rewards community, which they eventually sold on for $150 million. And because of this experience, they're now looking to utilize a blockchain technology for the next generation of private rewards programs. They're backed by some of the biggest venture capital funds across crypto, who already are managing around $3 billion worth of assets. Now, I recommend you use the link down below in the description to come across and check out this platform and see some of the things that are on offer here. I think this is a great way to diversify my portfolio going forward. Now, currently the private round is closed, but if you use that link down below and come across, then you can qualify for being able to invest. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow in another video. Bye-bye.